Namaskar to everybody. Once again, welcome to our one of the most interesting series of lectures on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the classic religious book or scripture was given by Lord Krishna at the battleground of Kurukshetra. Uh, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is such a scripture that as we grow up with our age, maturity, experience of life, learnings of life, and so we are able to understand the deep inner meaning of this the scripture, and it takes years of time to understand it properly. You need lots of mental preparation, psychological, spiritual preparation, and our approach of life, our way of living, our way of thoughts, our way of dreams, imaginations. And one thing I could assure you that study of the Bhagavad Gita and participating in this series of lectures and surely will give us the real taste of divinity. And you will see that how um, the journey we started togetherly in 2 class we did. When I will be finishing this series of lecture, you will be really thankful to the Brian, to the organization that we did such a wonderful arrangement to listen these wonderful scriptures, lessons of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But before I do so, before I go into the book, into the scripture, let me pray to the Guru and the rishis, those who given these unique religious books to us. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim bhagavatim chaiva tato jayo mudiraye vyasaya vishnurupayo vyasurupayo vishnave namo vai brahma vidhaye vasishthayo namo namaha Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyo Krito Vande Bhagavanto Punaha Punaha Om Sadashiva Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Bande Guru Paramparam Om Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mamo Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mamo Deva Deva Om Namaha Sri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. So before I start today's the discussion on Bhagavad Gita, I will be requesting each of you, in case you have this book, the book I wrote, on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. You could see the book. In case you have a copy in your home, you could just say it will be nice if you keep it at your hand. It will be easy for you that where I am and which bhat I'm reading today. So our topic today will be mainly discussing about the Amar Atma or immortality of the soul. That will be our main topic today. And if you remember that in our previous lectures, we were mentioning that we do puja, many puja we do, Satyanarayan Katha, Durga Puja, Kali Puja, and Krishna Jan, the holy birthday of Lord Krishna. We do a lot of religious celebration. But Hinduism, what we understand about the Hinduism, and what is the message of the philosophy, the Eastern philosophy, the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, and what Bhagavad Gita want to preach to us, to this world, and to the people in India, to the people beyond of Indian boundary, and how we can be used, how we can use the unique teachings of Bhagavad Gita anywhere we live in this world, because religious books cannot be for particular one community. It should be for everybody. And how the people all around the world can use these immortal teachings of Bhagavad Gita to face the challenges of life. And if you remember that how the Bhagavad Gita started with sadness. And I mentioned in the first lecture that sadness is the part of life. We all go through. Like as monks, we go through the spiritual sadness. I mentioned that, probably you remember. As a spiritual person, we go through deep depression and sadness, which is known as spiritual sadness. That is part of our life. We feel sad that one more day is passed from our life, and the purpose I left home one day years back, leaving behind the parent, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, family, and so many years passed. Still, we could not reach our goal. So that make us depressed very much. So that is our kind of depression. Then you have your own types of depression in home. I'm sure you experienced that. And it happened to the Arjuna, the first student of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was the friend of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna. Arjuna was the best archer of that time. And Arjuna was the first student of the Bhagavad Gita. He was so lucky. He was so kind of, he had such a wonderful opportunity that he got the first chance to listen to these unique teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So that we discuss in the chapter 1. And also, if you remember in chapter 2, at the beginning of the chapter 2, Lord Krishna did not agree with Arjuna, and he tell Arjuna the way he was behaving, Arjuna's attitude, and the way he show his approach of life. It was not perfect if you comparing to the name of Arjuna, because it was the battleground, and there was no way that Arjuna could look back. No way he could leave that battleground. He had to get involved, and he had to win the battle. There's no way he can go back. So Lord Krishna gave some of the immortal lesson that Klibyo Masmo Gamopat Naitattayupabuddhate Sudram Hridayo Durvallam Taktu Uttishto Parantapo. It's kind of repetition of the message of Upanishad. If you remember the message of the Upanishad, Uttishtito Jagrato, Prappo Bara Nibodato, arise and awake. Do not stop till you reach your goal. We might fall down, there might be difficulties, there might be obstacles on the road, on the path, but that does not mean that we will stop our that movement. We should stop only when we reach our goal, final goal. But that inspiring word from the mouth of Lord Krishna was not enough to motivate Arjuna. And that's how from there, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna gave one of the immortal teachings, the one of the basic principle of the Bhagavad Gita. That is the soul, immortality of the soul. If you remember those who study Vedas, you remember in the Vedas, the rishis of the ancient time, they proclaim that Aham Brahmasmi, means I am that Brahman. Brahman means the supreme. So I am that supreme means that me and the supreme is the same person. The things I have in my body is the inseparable part of that supreme. That's why the Vedas proclaim Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman. That will be coming in a later period of time. So now the one of the fundamental principle of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna giving here, that immortality of the soul, Amor Atma. Everything perished in this world, our human body, our whatever building property we see today, after 200 years, after 500 years, after thousands of years, this will be perished. A new generation will be coming, they will be knocking down all this old building, they will build a new building, new construction. So new generation will be coming with a new dream, a new kind of motivation. So everything perish in this world, but among all these perishable things, one thing do not die, one thing do not perish, that is the Atma. I'm using the Atma word. Atma in English, they translate in soul, a true self, or the spirit, or the self. But I will be using the word Atma. Some people use, I saw some places they are using the word Atman, but I will be using basically Atma. And according to teachings of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the what you call in Buddhism attaining nirvana and what we call in Hinduism moksha, attainment of moksha, according to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, that realization of that self, realization of that Atman is the realization of the God. So, Atma Darshan, Bhagavad Darshan, self realization is the goal of life, and that particular topic will be discussing today. And also with this, the basic principle, other principle we are learning in these lessons, that rebirth. And if you read the people practice many religion, many faith in this world. There is Christianity, there is Islam, there is Jews, there is Buddhism, there is Jainism, there is many other faith people use. But I'm not sure any other faith believe that we came before, we are now, and we will be coming in future too. So you, me came before. Where we came, which home we came, which country we are born, that is unknown to us. It's a mystery to us. We know our present birth, and still nothing is stable, because we born at one place and we living at one place, and we don't know our tomorrow what's coming to our life. But then again, after this human body fall, after we complete our journey, when this body fall down, we come back again. So that is called a rebirth. And punarjanma, janmantarbat in Sanskrit word. And so this is the rebirth and immortality of the soul. These two basic principles of the philosophy of Gita we'll be discussing today. So we focus now one of the very beautiful topic, you all will enjoy it, that immortality of the soul or Atma. And if you remember our last Tuesday lecture, I completed with this recitation of this particular verse. That was the verse number. That was the verse number 22. If you remember, that was the last verse I read. I'm reciting again today for you. This is the verse number 22 of chapter 2. वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संजाति नवानि देहि ॐ नमः श्री भगवते वासुदेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमो नमः. This verse we read, it says like how a person abandons old clothes and take the new ones. Similarly, the soul abandon old and sick body and enter to a new one. This is one of the very important philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. It's preaching that how we, when we buy a new cloth, we like it so much. The new garments or new dress you buy, you only use it to the special occasion. Is a wedding ceremony, going to the attending Durga Puja, or going to a party, using that particular dress, or any office, kind of gatherings in the office, or in the office and with the colleagues and boss all coming. But after that, we use that cloth in a regular basis. But then in time come, after a couple of years, that garments, that cloth, once which was new, very beautiful look, a very costly one, after a couple of years it become old, tainted, kind of is cannot be used sometimes. But because of the Maya attachment with that particular cloth, and we iron it, we press it, and we keep in the shelf, and but we do not use it. Sometimes I see the people bringing clothes and dropping to the drop box. So similarly, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Lord Krishna say, Vasamsi jirnani jatha vihaya. As we abandon old clothes, the clothes we cannot be used anymore in public places. Similarly, a day will come this in this human body when we will be completing our 100 years of journey. Please keep in mind that a human supposed to live full 100 years with good limbs, healthy body. Because we pray to Lord Shiva, we pray to the Mahashiva, Hey Shiva, Jivemu Saradam Shataha. Lord, please give me 100 years to live. But everybody know, comparing to the endless time, 100 years is nothing. It just pass away. So after 100 years, if somebody is still living in this world, it's a kind of extension of life. And if those who read Mahabharata, you know that one time that Bhishma Pitamaha, great grandfather of Arjuna. So Bhishma Pitamaha was asked, what is the bad side of long life? I mean, say somebody living 125 or 130 years of age, if somebody live up to there, what is the negative side of that long life? Is that your children will be gone, some of your grandchildren also will be gone, great grandchildren, and the people in the road, they will say, why the old man do not die yet? They will be cursing you because we're living so long. Our children gone, our grandchildren also gone, still we living. And so that is how the Bhishma Pitamaha, that he said this is the negative side of the. So for the time being, we must live 100 years with good health. But after 100 years, the body like old clothes become old, so we have to abandon body. And that does not mean the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita telling, Lord Krishna telling at that battlefield of Kurukshetra to his most beloved student Arjuna, that Arjuna, that does not mean that is the end of your life. Because you are immortal. You are ever existence. You are wonderful soul. This world like a foreign country. Mano chalo nijo niketone. Oh my mind, let us go back to my own place. And then Tatha Sharirani Vihayo Jirnani Anyani Samjati Navani Dehi. Lord Krishna mentioned to Arjuna. Similarly, this body, the Atma abandoned this old body and entered to a new one. How? After in this COVID environment, as we monk living, because many of you probably know, probably do not know that we occasionally we going to the funeral home and to attend the funeral services, and we doing Shraddha ceremony at the temple, our priest doing. And so we could see in this environment people losing their life and the we people, and because we cannot be afraid. Because I was giving an example. Look, there was a time years back in 1924, there was cholera broke out in the village of Bajitpur where Acharya Swami Pranavanandaji Maharaj was born. And you know that Acharya Swami Pranavanandaji Maharaj is the great founder of Bharat Sevashram Sangh, the one of the largest monastic mission of India. So when Swami Guruji Maharaj, we call him Sri Swamiji Maharaj or Sri Guruji Maharaj, when he was young, maybe 30 years of age, cholera broke out, and a person came from district of Borishal to the Bajitpur village to catch fish, because that is how he used to support his family. And because of cholera, he died. And nobody want to, now somebody die in the boat catching fish, while catching fish, need to take the body to the village cremation ground and burn the body, otherwise it's not good, it's not healthy. But nobody coming out, nobody want to touch the cholera patient. So Guruji was young, and he called a couple of his associates and took the body from the boat to the cremation ground and burned. So Guruji, Swami Pranavandaji, hold the head side of the dead body, and from the mouth of the that cholera, the person who died with the cholera, from the mouth of the lala, the water came out, it fell on Guruji's hand. So that time Guruji asked, when after everything finished, they came back to the ashram. So Guruji said, go to his younger sister, little Hemangini, Devi Hemangini. Say, go to the Hemangini. They used to call, nickname was Buri. Say, go to the Buri and bring a piece of soap because I need to wash my hand. So when I was giving the example that our Guruji, when needed, he himself went to the carry the dead body, cholera patient, and went to the cremation. And we now, the monk living here in this country, all over the world, people, like in India too, and we cannot turn our face. We're living in a temple. When people need our help, we are always ready. We don't care for our life. So I'm coming back to our topic that we abandon the old body. Now, how the soul leave the old body and enter to a new body? That's a mysterious journey. That I will be explaining to you when I will take you to chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita. So please attend this lecture continuously. You will be so much you will like it. And I mentioned that you please invite your family members and children. This is something we can listen togetherly. It's a family togetherly get together and you can listen. It's a very good discussion and very unique thing, because the body die, but I don't die. That I'm not the body. I'm not the hand. I'm not the feet. I'm something. I'm immortal. I don't die. When I say I die, that means that I is the Atma. I'm immortal. I don't die. I'm unique. I'm free from all kind of pollution, all kind of taint, all kind of any kind of the dirt of this world. I'm free from all this. This is ever pure, eternal, ever existence. This is the most beautiful soul or the Atma. And that is me. And those who practice meditation regular basis, they know and they can, by their powerful imagination, they can separate themselves from the this perishable body, because Atma is a very fine thing. Those who read in the Kathopanishad, there is a particular verse in the Kathopanishad, the god of death, or Yamraja, Yama, told his disciple Nachiketa that Angushta matra purushaha madhya atmani tishtati. So Yama was teaching to his student that a kind of finger size soul live in this human body. But even a cut human body, you don't see anything. Is the meditation, those who do regular meditation, analyze the what is the body, what is truly made of this body, they gradually they could understand. So in this particular verse, what we see, we already read in this verse, that Vasamshi Jirani Yatha Vihayu Navani Grinnati Naro Parani, as people, as a person, like how a person abandon old clothes and take the new ones, similarly, Tatha Sharirani Vihayu Jiranani Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. Similarly, the soul abandon the old and sick body and enter to a new one. So that we read in our, this topic will be continued today, and hopefully we'll be finishing this particular topic today. So I'm in the verse number 23 of the chapter 2. In case you have Bhagavad Gita in your hand, you could look at the verse, chapter 2, Shankha Yoga, and verse number 23. I'm reading for you. Oh. Nainam chindanti shastrani नैनम दहुति पावकः नैनम छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनम दहुति पावकः न चैनम क्लेदयन्ताप न चैनम क्लेदयन्त्याप न शोषयति मारुतः ॐ नमः श्री भगवते वासुदेवाय श्री कृष्णाय नमो नमः. Again, Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna. Could imagine this discussion going on at a battleground. I could imagine the Kurukshetra battleground, a open battleground. Millions of soldiers, elephant, horses are waiting. They're wondering what is going on in the middle of the battleground. What Arjuna and Krishna they're talking, because nobody could hear that. So while all these people are looking at these two people in the middle of the battleground, and that place Lord Krishna teaching, weapon cannot cut. Nainam chindanti shastrani. Weapons cannot cut this soul. Nainam dahati pavakaha. Fire is unable to burn it either. Na chainam kledayam tapo. Water cannot make it wet. Na sushayati marutaha. And wind cannot make it dry even. This is one of the most important philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. It's telling Nainam chindanti shastrani. Shastra is the weapon. Weapon can cut it's a battleground. Weapon can cut a body, like in a hospital. The surgeons, they use the weapon to cut the body and repairing the heart, or changing the liver, replacing heart, or many kind of surgery. They're cutting the body. And sometimes in the battleground, I hear that in the mountain, when the soldiers fetching hand to hand find the battle going on, they using weapon. So weapon can cut, like how we used to go to in our childhood days. Our mother used to send us to the field to cut grasses for the cow or for the goat. I know there's some of the children, the young, the people, those who are listening Bhagavad Gita, they might be thinking what Swamiji is talking, going to the field and cutting grass and all those. But it's the story of the villages, like how you go to school here, your mom and dad dropping to school by car. We used to go to school by walking on foot, sometimes 3 miles walking. And but before we go to school, after morning time, we finish our study. We used to go to the field to cut grass for the goat and cow, which we have in our home. And so sometimes we cut our finger also while rushing. So that means weapon can cut a body, weapon can cut a tree, weapon can cut anything, but weapon is unable to cut the soul, because the soul is something, or Atma is something, is a matter of realization. Only those who do regular meditation and honest meditation and dedicatedly practicing meditation out of kindness, out of the God help them who help themselves. When somebody is trying to realize the truth of life, what is the truth of life, then the blessings of the Lord come, and the God at a certain moment suddenly reveal that beauty in your heart. That is why, but you cannot express to the people your realization. So that is why Lord Krishna tell that Arjuna, this unique soul, wonderful soul, most beautiful soul, it cannot be cut by a weapon. You might be using weapon to fight this battle. A lot of people will be killed in this Mahabharata battle, but does not mean that you're going to kill the Atma. Nainam chindantri shastani, nainam dahoti pavokaha. Pavokaha means fire. And those who deals with the Vedas, that Vedas glorify fire with hundreds of beautiful verses. If you go to the Rig Vedas, if you go to the Yajur Vedas, you will be finding so many beautiful verses glorifying the beauties of the fire. In fact, fire is also one of the prominent god in the Hindu way of practice. Even today, whenever we do a wedding ceremony, or we do a new home entering puja, or we do any other birthday ceremony, some people or some temple in the Sunday morning service, they do Havan ceremony. Havan ceremony is nothing but worshipping the fire god. So fire can, nainam dahoti pavukaha, the fire can burn so many things. You hear occasionally in California forest fire. We read the story of the Dhruva and his brother, that in India, Himalayan jungle, forest fire killed him. And we occasionally hear, last year I think it happened to Australia. Even the government of the United States of America sent planes with things, material, to help the Australian government to put up that fire. Fire is so kind of dangerous element. We always, when you're cooking in this home, most of the homes are made of the wood. When you're cooking, always you're so careful. I mean, the senior people always telling, be careful, fire, be careful with the fire. So fire is so powerful. Fire can, when you take a dead body to the cremation ground, in India, they put the fire, gather some dry wood, they put the dead body on the wood, and they burn it. And you could see by your own eyes how a human body, which we love so much, which we, nourish with so much, with food, clothes, imagination, dream, expectation, desire, hankering, anger, greed, temptation. How much we went through in this human body, and how that human body is burning to ashes, you'll see by your own eyes if you see the open fire. I went to the Trinidad, and in the beside the ocean, they beautiful open burning place, and the people are chanting, singing, reciting verses from Bhagavad Gita, and you could see how a human body burning to ashes. I saw in the Claremont, the burning ghat in the South Africa, in the especially Durban area. I visited so many times. I could see there used to be open burning places there. In this country, you see that you go to the funeral home, like tomorrow we're going. Tomorrow Wednesday I will be going to attend a funeral. So after some ritual, in the people they take the dead body, the casket is being closed, they push in the fire, and the son or daughter or the relative close relative, they push the blue button. That's it. But Nainam Dahuti Pavaka. But this fire, even though it is so powerful, it cannot burn that unique soul. It cannot burn me. It can burn my body, my case. My body is a case. But fire cannot burn me because I'm not, it don't have that kind of power. Okay, so Noinam Dahuti Pavakaha. So Lord Krishna explained to Arjuna that Arjuna, Atma, fire cannot burn it. Impossible. Na chainam kledayan tapu. Na chainam kledayan tapu. Water cannot make it wet. You know, if you go to a swimming pool, jump in the water, and you could see that you are wet. In our childhood days, we used to, in the that rainfall, we used to go to collect mangoes from the mango garden. We used to be wet, all clothed wet. In rainfall, we just go outside. We brother sister play with the rain, and without rain, I mean, whenever rainfall, the trees, the plants, and they are so joyful. They look so joyful. They enjoying that rain. But then Lord Krishna say that water cannot make the weight this Atma beyond. Not Soshvaiti Marutaha. Marutaha means the wind. You know the powerful cyclone. Recently we saw the cyclone in the Amphan cyclone in the Bengal and Odisha. So much people was donating, calling their relatives are being affected. Trees fell down, building big, the broke down. The car went all the way to the trees. The people took shelter in the rooftop, and so much people died, animal died. So it's so kind of so the wind, when cyclone come, you hear occasionally cyclone in Florida, but that powerful wind cannot dry the Atma. So Lord Krishna explaining properly the nature of the Atma is very unique, very interesting. And the whole Vedantic philosophy, the whole philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita actually is all around this philosophy, that how the Atma is immortal, unique, everlasting, and it will remain there always. It's so beautiful. And so, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani Nainam Dahati Pavukaha, Na Chainam Kledantapo, Na Shoshayati Marutaha. I take you to the verse number 24 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Acchittoyam adajyoyam aklipto asasyevacha. Acchittoyam adajyoyam aklidyo asasyevacha. Nityaha sarvagataha sthano achuloyam sanatanaha. Acchiddoyam adajyoyam akliddo asasyevacha. Nityaha sarvagataha sthano achuloyam sanatanaha. Om Namaha Shri Bhagavate Vasudevaya Shri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, the soul cannot be pierced or cut into pieces. It is immune from burning, wetting, or drying. It is eternal. It is pervaded everywhere in the body. It is steady, immovable, and it is indeed imperishable. It's very beautiful. Acchedoyam. Like in the previous verse, we were reading, Nainam Chindanti is the same thing. Acchedoyam. It cannot, body can cut to pieces, like how we cut vegetable to pieces, but atma is something so beautiful, it cannot be cut to pieces. So what is this atma? That is the main question will be to all of us. What is this philosophy Lord Krishna talking about in the battleground to a soldier, a army personnel? So that is the basic thing we need to wonder and ponder and think over. Because you know why I'm emphasizing time and tide wait for none. Samay, the time is always moving away. It's running out of our hand. We are thinking all this virus going on. Next year will be the best year for us. I thought I was reading in the Punjika, the Putrika, in the month of January. This year will be such a wonderful year. Lots of donation will be coming. Lots of things will be happening. Nothing happened from February. We get scared. We are locked down. We are imprisoned in our home, and we are confused. We don't know which side we should run away. And when New York, New Jersey was bad, Florida people was coming here. Now we trying to run to the, now our side is good, Florida people trying to come to our side. So these things we do not know what is coming to next year. This year, even though all this virus going on, we should see the positive side. Now they could see the positive side. The family do not get time to sit together in a normal occasion. Your son in the college, your daughter in the college, in the job, they rented their own apartment. Your husband going to one side touring, you are busy with your own work. So there is hardly any time that family can see each other and sit down together. And we get in such a wonderful opportunity that last couple of months, the entire family, the family bondage, the love in the family, how we love each other, and that bondage develops so much, and we love to see each other, that our children in home, husband wife in home, our family in home, we eating together, we could see each other. It's such a wonderful opportunity. Our family bondage is growing up by living together, helping each other. Mom, you don't need to go to bazaar. Let me go to the bazaar, do bazaar for you. It's such a unique thing, and we do not know. We are expecting a medicine will be coming, and next year will be the most. We'll be able to go to visit everywhere like how is to. We do not know anything. We hope for best, but please think this way. Let us use the present time. Let us take the opportunity of this time. That will be the most brilliant way of thinking, to use the present time, how we can use present time as our best, so could enjoy instead of getting afraid, fear. And we like I see a devotee came a little bit before to temple. I see gloves in this hot summer weather, thick glass in the hand, with thick mask in the mouth, and scared to touch the handle of the temple door, because you know the people, other people also touching the door. I say, oh Lord, could imagine this such a hot, and could see the sweating hand. So let us use the, best way, the present moment, that we are in home, our family is in home, our children in home. We monk could see the Bharat Sevasam New Jersey branch. You see always me. Now we are 4 people living here. I say it's a blessings to me. Look, the Swami Devapriyananda is here, Swami Mukundananda is here, the Purohit, Thakur Mosai is here. We 4 people living here. And our little home, the behind the temple, is so lively now. I don't need to cook every day. I see the people are around. I don't need to shut down the door. So we enjoying our time. So similarly, you too. So I'm coming back to the point. So death will come one day, but we should not be afraid of the death. Let us use the time. Achidvayam, adajyayam, as we explained, that body can burn to ashes, but Atma cannot be burned. Akleddo asasya evacha, and it cannot be dried. And the next line is important here. Nityaha. Nityaha means eternal. It was, it is here, it will be here in future too. It is ever existing, never die, imperishable, indestructible. It will remain here always. Nityaha. What is Nityaha? That Atma. What is that Atma? Atma, actually, how the Upanishad explaining to us that God as Atma dwelling in everybody. Our heart is the temple of God, and there is the Atma dwelling. When we close our eyes, we go deep into meditation, we could see that beautiful Krishna with his beautiful heavenly dress, with his smiling face, holding his magical flute in his hand, playing his magical flute, calling my name, and he's doing his lila in this Hriday Vrindavan, the heart like Vrindavan. He is there in our heart. So Nityaha, this Atma is eternal, it never dies. That means that is me, so I don't die. You can burn my body, you can cut my body, you can do anything with my body. Does not mean I die. You remember when Alexander went to invade India? Alexander went all the way from Europe to invade India. So he faced the king Puru in the probably at the bank of the Jhelum river in the Punjab side. And then while he was going on his way, is saying to us in his meditative pose, he was doing meditation. So the soldiers of the Alexander say, get out of our way, get out from here, because otherwise you are going to die. And if we remember that Indian Jogi replied, he burst into laughter that you can kill my body, but you cannot kill me. You cannot kill me. This is Indian rishi. This is Indian saint. I'm so much I don't have that kind of fear that I'm going to die because I don't die at all. You can kill my body, you can destroy my body, but you cannot destroy me. That was the reply of the Indian rishi that time. So Nitya. Then the second word, if you see the verse number 24, Sarvagataha. Sarvagata means all pervading. Sometimes when I do my own meditation in my upstairs small room, I'm closing my eyes, say that early morning at 3:30, exactly 3:30 I wake up. So I close my eyes before I start writing the life of Guruji. I do a little meditation. So thought coming, Atma Sarvagataha, all pervading. That means Atma is present all over the body. Then Atma is present outside also of the body. Atma is present all over in this world. In water, in sky, in trees, in air, in wind, in temple, outside of temple, in the everywhere that Atma is there. So if we now think it properly, Sarvagataha, it is like, how that you have little water in your pot. So you went to the river side or ocean side when that pot, or you throw that water, or if that pot is being broken, that water go to the ocean. It's like that. This body is like a pot. And how water in a pot, similarly the Atma in this pot. When this body fall down, that means body compared with the pot, colors, when these colors break down, the Atma is mixed with the everywhere, because the Bhagavan is everywhere. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadayo Purnameva Vashishyate. What is far, what is there, that is here. What is here, it is there too. God is very near to him or her who love him. God is very far from him or from her, those who do not like him. Swamiji, where is God? Bhagavan Kuthai. Where is God? Why am I going through this problem? Where to cry? I say, don't cry, that God is there. God is dwelling at your heart. Atma Rupi Bhagavan, God dwelling at your heart as so. So Sarvagata, everywhere in this body, Atma is present. With like how the science, it's like our mind like a laboratory, a place to do research. When you go deep inside the mind and do the research, where is the presence of this Atma, bit by bit, it will be clear to us. So Sarvagataha Sthanuhu. What is Sthanuhu? That is everywhere it is steady. Everything is unsteady. Our mind, if you think of our mind, so chanchal, mind is so restless, jumping like monkey here to there to here. We don't know what we want. We cannot satisfy anybody by giving things, because it's so restless mind is. But what is steady in this world? It say Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Lord Krishna say, the Atma is Nityaha Sarvagataha Sthanu. It is the steady thing. You could imagine our ancestor, our forefather, our mom, our dad, our grandfather, our grandma, great grandma, great great grandma, great 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 grandfather. They all read the Bhagavad Gita. They attain divinity. They worship Lord Krishna. We doing same. After couple of generations, that we will be gone. After our children will be gone, their children will be gone. Say from today to I'm holding 1,000 years after. Couple of generations, 10 generation will be gone, but still people are reading these unique teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So, sthanu achalo ayam, immovable, and it is indeed sanatana. You know, probably you heard that the Gita Dharma, the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita is being known as Sanatan Dharma. Means it is eternal, it was there, it is now, it will be there. So much changes will be coming to this world after all this pandemic goes of this virus gone, and there will be a new world, a new generation will be coming out, a new vibration, a new imagination, a new way of thinking, new way of living the life. It all will be coming to this world. We do not know we are going to see that or not, but believe me, after all these things is over, it will be new world. People will be thinking in a new way. At this moment, we could see how our life is so kind of so temporary. Because I was reading yesterday, almost close to 7 lakhs of people lost their life. We are so fortunate that we are still getting opportunity to study Bhagavad Gita. Thanks God. So this Atma is Nityaha, Sarvagataha, Sthanuhu, Achuloyam, and Sanatanahu. And let me take you to the verse number. It's very beautiful. Verse number 25. Very beautiful. You will enjoy this particular verse. It's also again related to that Atma. And please keep in mind, whenever you talk of the philosophy of the Gita Darshan, Gita Dharma, Gita Darshan, that immortality of the soul is one of the basic principle of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So verse number 25, very, very beautiful. I'm reading for you. Avyaktoyamachintoyam Toyamachintoyam Abhikaryamayamuchyate Avyaktoyam Achintoyam Abhikaryamayamuchyate Tasmadevam viditvainam Tasmadevam viditvainam Nanusachitumarhasi Avyaktoyam Achintoyam Avyaktoyam Achintoyam Avyaktoyam Achintoyam. Verse number 25. Avyaktoyam. Avyakta, it is unmanifested. The Atma is unmanifested. I could see you. I see a couple of sitting in the computer screen. After that, we finish today's Bhagavad Gita discussion. We might see a lot of you. I could see the computer in the office. I could see my Guruji's picture. I could see the wall. I could see the people coming and going out of the temple. I could see the wall clock, but I cannot see the Atma. Swamiji, I'm talking the inside story of the monastery. You could imagine that when you go to Calcutta headquarters during the period of Maghi Purnima, so you see around 400, 500 monks all around. So some of them are really hungry. Some of the monks are honestly hungry to taste the touch of God. Because we read so much of story, in the all around the world, that we read so much beautiful stories of the gods, how people are being that saved their life miraculously. That I go to South Africa occasionally, that I'm trying to open a branch of the Bharat Sevasram Sangha at the Durban city of South Africa. So Bhagavad Gita is so popular there. Just holding Bhagavad Gita, I travel all over Cape Town, Johannesburg, Lady Smith, all the way the Tata company opened the factory, and then Pietersburg, Durban, here, there. I keep traveling all over South Africa, just preaching Bhagavad Gita. They love it. You know why they love it? Because the people, they're away from the country many years, and where they will get teacher who will be reading the verses Sanskrit properly and will be explaining it properly. How they will give the authentic explanation of these verses. And they like it so much, and this like a big therapy to their life. If you meet a cancer patient or somebody going through some kind of sickness and talk of these things, and it will take their mind away from the sickness. It will take them to another world, and they will forget their all this sickness in the body. They'll forget their sorrow even. And so, unmanifested Atma is we cannot see by our human eyes. There is coming one of the tricky thing. When I will be taking you to chapter 11, it's a long journey. Please keep patience. When I will be taking you to chapter 11, you will see there that Arjuna requesting Lord that, Lord, could you please appear in front of me in your infinite form? And I would love to see you. Because when you come to our temple, you see Ma Durga Murti made of clay or mud or patthur, means the marble, and kind of material they use to make the murtis, images. But we want to see real Durga coming in out of the murti. We want to see real mother coming out of the murti, talking to us, listening our prayer. We want to see real Ganeshji out of the murti. But then we cannot see the God or Atma by our human eyes, because in front of the human eyes there's a curtain of Maya. Like how in the temple building I could see the curtain. When you pull the curtain, you cannot see outside beauties. And when you have in your home beautiful curtains in the window, it's you cannot see outside the beauty of the nature. As soon as you open your morning to open your curtain, move your curtain, you can see bright sunlight. Similarly, in front of our eyes, there is a Mayar Avaran, a kind of is covering with the Maya, illusion, delusion. This sansar is the sansar of Maya, illusion. We embracing something which is temporary. We embracing something, holding tightly something, thinking this is nectar, this is the goal of life, this is the everything is life. You know, I was talking to Swamiji today, and if you analyze our life, everybody's life, I'm talking everybody, we save money, right? We save money. Sometimes we deprive ourselves by eating good food, living in a nice house, or buying a nice car or nice garment, but we save money. But if you see, analyze properly, how many those people gone, how many people could utilize that money in their own life? Believe that children sometimes fight, go to court, who will get what. They save money, but they could not do bhog or enjoy that money. It's kind of tricky thing, you know. It did not use anything for their own life. It remained in the bank or somewhere it remained there. My grandmother used to keep money in his pillow. When she died, we see that her pillow is so heavy. Then we cut the pillow, you see inside her pillow on the cotton, a lot of, those times it used to be golden coin, there was so much she hide in the world. It did not use for her. She used to wear one white sari and then simple little vegetarian food. That's all she used. She didn't buy any clothes, nothing. So the Atma Abhyakta, it is there, but we cannot see it by our eyes. Now, it need Dibya Drishti. It need inner vision. You see, the Lord Shiva has a third eye. You hear Mother Kali has a third eye. When you come to Durga Puja time in the Bharat Sevasam Durga Puja, Durga Murti, say 1,000 people sitting in the temple, 2,000 eyes looking at the beautiful face of Ma Durga. And you could see the Ma Durga has three eyes, two regular eyes, and there's a third eye. That third eye called inner vision. And a lot of people, they do meditation, the Agya Chakra in between the two eyebrows. They try to open that third eyes. To need that Dibya Drishti, to see that wonderful appearance of the God. So we cannot see God by our human eyes because there's a curtain of Maya illusion in front of us. So in general, Lord Krishna explained to Arjuna that this Atma is Abhyakta, invisible. It means people cannot see it by their human eyes. Achintoyam, it is beyond the thoughts. Achintoyam. You know that Avang Manusha Gocharam. God is Avang Manusha Gocharam. I mean, we cannot describe the wonders of the God by word. Avang. Word has limitation to explain the beauties and wonders and uniqueness and greatness, glories of the Lord. Abang. Manasya, we cannot imagine that Almighty Lord in our small mind. Gocharam means we cannot see God by our human eyes. So God is Abang, Manasya, Gocharam. And here we see same Abhyakta. We cannot see the Atma by our human eyes. It's not visible that way. Achintoyam. We imagine, those words will be coming in future. Just imagine somebody, you came to temple, somebody sitting on the podium and giving a lecture on the wonderful soul. You will be looking at him, the person is talking of the Atma, that you'll be looking at it something wonderful. The person who is delivering lecture he looks something wonderful. The way he's presenting, the way he's delivering his lecture, talking of the glories of the Atma, with the word, and but then you only can see him. So Vyaktam Achintayam Abhikarijam, it is beyond thoughts and changeless. Abhikarijam. Everything changes. We were little. That day we used to fight on the street. When you go to school, every day we come back from school, every day make sure we at least 1 2 times we fight. When we used to wait at the road, our father used to come, okay, you are there. That means we fight with the neighbor. So because if you go inside the home, mommy will be beating. So we used to wait for our dad to come. So behind the dad, we used to go inside the home. Like a good boy, take the shower, sit with dad, eat with him, and lie down also with him. So mom cannot touch me that time. So then we quickly went to the high school. We finished high school. Then we went to college. We are so excited. We are young, vibrant, look handsome, only 18, 20 years of age. New imagination. We want to change the world. All that everything going on is wrong. But bit by those young is also gone. We don't know when it's gone. So change is coming everywhere in the world. Everything changing. What the cell phone you use today, after a couple of years, if you have to throw it. What the computer you use today, you have to throw it. Use something. Everything changing. But what do not change? The Atma is changeless. Abhikarjam ayam uchyate. It is being said that Atma is cannot see by the eyes, it cannot think by our mind, and it do not change of it is changeless. তস্মাৎ দেবং বিদিত্বৈনম নাতুম সচুই তোমার হসি. Hey Arjuna, unnecessarily you getting depressed. When something is changed, something is the body is supposed to go away, and you supposed not to be mourning for that. You supposed not to be sorrowful. You supposed to focus your work. You supposed to focus your duty. So Tasmat Devang, knowing, understanding the immortal nature of the soul, you should not be sorrowful. So get out of these sorrows. And then Lord Krishna telling that is very beautiful. You like it. The verse number I'm reading, verse number 27. Frankly speaking, Gita speaking something very frankly, openly, not hiding anything to anybody. There is no sankoj or hesitation to say. Is the verse number 27, chapter 2, Shankha Yoga. Lord Krishna tell his most beloved student Arjuna at the battleground of Kurukshetra. Lord Krishna said, Om Dhani Sarega Sada Mi Re Re Sa Dhani Sarega Ma Pa Ma Pa Ga Ga Sada Mi Re Re Sa Jatasya hi dhruva mritu Jatasya hi dhruva mritu Dhruvam janama mritasya cha Jatasya hi dhruva mritu Dhruvam janamo mritasya cha Tasmat apariharjyarthi Tasmat apariharjyarthi नातम सोचू तुम्हार हसी जातस्य हि मृत्यु ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च। हे गोपाल, हे कृष्णा, हे कृष्णा, हे गोपाल। जातस्य हि ध्रुवर मृत्यु ध्रुवम जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मात् अपरिहार्य अर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि। Arjuna, because a person who is being born will surely die one day. It's very open discussion. O Arjuna, because a person who is being born will surely die one day. Similarly, a person who died will certainly be born again. Therefore, knowing the fact that this is definitely be happen, you should not be sorrowful. You could see the Lord Krishna went very deep into discussion and talking to a army person. Jatasya hi dhrubor mrityu. Once we have a birth, it's surely that we are going to die one day. Means our body should fall down one day. In the Garuda Puran, I was reading, before we born, when we are in the womb of our mother, is written on our forehead at what kind of work we're going to do, where you're going to marry, and where you're going to die. All those things are already written on our forehead. When death comes, we will be reaching there, we will be arriving there right time and right moment. Bhagavan, the Jamraj will take us to that time. So Jatasya hi dhruvar mrityu, Arjuna, somebody who is being born must die one day. Dhruvang Janmo. This is the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. Somebody who died must take a new birth again, must be born again. And that is why it is said that if we do our good work in this birth, so if we born again, surely will be coming to a home. It will be more favorable home when we'll be able to get more opportunity for spiritual activities. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is a place you will be hearing from me that at the time of death, whatever we think, our future birth dominate that. Say, for example, when I'm taking my last birth, I'm thinking of the non-veg food. So I might be born something, animal, people might. But if I think when I'm taking the last birth, if I can see in front of me standing with the beautiful appearance, Bhagavan Lord Krishna, or Mother Durga or Guruji Maharaj standing there, or Lord Shiva standing there, if I can take my last breath there, and that will be dominating my future. But I might be getting a parent where all parents are good, but I might be getting a parent who will be already devoted to the feet of the Bhagavan Shankar. So, Jatasya hi dhruvor mrityu, dhruvam janma mitasya. We must. So that means Bhagavad Gita confirming this philosophy of rebirth. It is so interesting, and when you think it properly, that we are here, say that Swamiji is living in the New Jersey ashram, Bharat Sevasana Sangha. When Swamiji's body will be gone, and then I will be coming back again. Where I will be coming back, because I was born in somewhere else and living in some, have we almost 14,000 miles away living now where I was born. And if I come back again, where I will be coming, that I do not know. All is uncertain. And I will forget, I will not remember even anything. It's so kind of mysterious. But Bhagavad Gita continuously emphasizing on the philosophy of rebirth. So rebirth, Atma Amor, immortality of the soul, and rebirth, this is two of the basic principle of the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, also philosophy of Hinduism. Please keep, when you teach children, listen, please tell them. Tasmat apariharjya arthe na tvangsochi tomar hoti. Therefore, Arjuna, understanding the fact that this is definitely be happen, you should not be sorrowful. Focus your duty, please. Focus what you have to do. Don't worry for birth, date, what we're going to die, what's going to happen, where we're going to we take a new birth. Do not worry for that. Focus your present duty perfectly. Work thinking, this is my puja to God. This is my offering to the lotus feet of God. This is how I'm doing, worshipping my Lord. Let all my morning to evening, evening to morning, oh Lord, what I'm doing, everything I'm doing for you is tuhu tuhu tuhu. Home is your, I am your, my children is your, everything is your. I surrender myself. I throw myself under your feet. Please give me your blessings. So I'll be concluding one more verse today, and then we should conclude this topic of the immortality of the soul. So let me go these verses. It's very beautiful. This is the verse number 29 of chapter 2. Verse number 29. You like it again. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna. आश्चर्यवाद पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवाद वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवाद पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवाद वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् ॐ नमः श्रीभगवते वासुदेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमो नमः. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that Arjuna, Ascharjavad Vadati Koschidenam. This soul appears to some people as something astonishing. Some people speak about it as something wonderful. There are other people who hear about it as something amazing. There are some people who, though they hear about it, they are unable to understand it clearly. So, Ascharjavad Pashyati Kosya. Ascharya means wonderfully. Ascharjavad Pashyati. They look the soul something wonderful. I tell you that say you came someday to temple to attend a memorial service and say that I'm speaking of the Bhagavad Gita sitting on the my asana and I'm talking of the body gone but I'm not dead. I'm there. So you looking at me, what Swamiji talking? Ascharjavad Pashyati. Some people look at something very wonderful, astonishing something, as though it is not clear to them. Ascharjavad Vadati. Some people talk of this immortal soul in a wonderful word. They use the wonderful word. Like I'm using Atma is immortal, eternal, ever existing, changeless, Sanatan. It was there, it is here, it will be there. Then I use the word Atma is all pervading. It is present everywhere. It is far from me. It is near to me. And also we mentioned that we cannot see the Atma by our human eyes, but we can realize the presence of the Atma in this body everywhere. Because of the presence of the Atma, I can move my hand, I can see you, I can walk, I can eat, I can take rest, I can travel, I can enjoy the beauties outside because of the travel. If you remember those verses, I don't remember right now, but you know Maitreyi, that is why Maitreyi, one of the most known women of India, is we always bow to my feet of Mother Maitreyi. Mother Maitreyi, when her husband was going to the forest for spiritual practices, Maitreyi say that, Lord, you going to forest, what you giving me? So my husband says, Yajnavalkya say, I'm giving all the property, all the gold, weight, land, building, home, everything is yours. Maitreyi say that particular sloka, I don't remember right now, maybe next day I will mention, I will read for you, that, oh Lord, what is not going, is this property, gold, ornament, and the land building going to give me the taste of divinity? Yajnavalkya say, no, Maitreyi, it's not going to. It will keep you comfortably. You live with comfort, good food, good clothes, good home, but you will not get the taste of divinity. Maitreyi said that things which is not going to give the taste of divinity, I don't want that. Please give me that lesson which will help me to understand where is God and what is God and what is Atma. So that is why Maitreyi become so popular, so kind of gem and ornament at the the this kind of necklace at the neck of our women. So, Ashcharyavad Pashyati Koschirenam, Ashcharyavad Badati Tathaivachaima. Some people speak of it very wonderful. Ashcharyavachai Namannaha Srinati. Some people hear of this soul, something very wonderful. Sruttapienam Vedo Nachaiva Koschit. Even hearing it, they do not understand it properly. So that was the very interesting topic today. I was discussing about the uniqueness of the immortal soul. And this, you could see here what Shankaracharya writing. I'm completing this discussion today with these things from Shankaracharya. You could see what Shankaracharya writing here. I was reading this morning. Nirvana Shatakam. I'm just reading maybe one or two, maybe one, because I see that time. Na mritu na shanka, na me jati bheda. Pita naibo me naibo mata na janema na mritu na shanka na me jati bheda pita naibo me naibo mata na janma na bandhu na mitram Guru naiva shishyam Chidananda Rupa Shivaham Shivaham Chidananda Rupam Shivaham Shivoham Chidananda Rupam Shivaham Shivoham Namittu na Shanka. I'm the soul. I'm not afraid of the death. Name jati bhedaha. You cannot put me to any caste or creed or color. Pita noibo me noibo mata na janma. I don't have mother, father. I don't have any birth or death. Na bundhu. I don't have any friend. Na mitra. Guru noibo shishya. I don't have a guru or shishya. So what is my true identification? Chidananda Rupaham Shivaham Shivaham. I'm the pure soul, I'm the eternal Atma, I'm Pavitra Atma, I'm Shiv, I'm Shiv, I'm Shiv. Namaskar to everybody. Hopefully you liked it, and then we will see what we go through in our next session. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Swamiji. Thank you very much.